Recording.
Good afternoon, all, and welcome to YLD's August CLE Lunch and Learn. Today, we're really excited to have Mary Beth Link. She is the founder and owner of her own law firm, Talent Recruiting Agency, and she is here to talk to us about hiring trends, legal market trends, to kind of give you guys an idea if you're thinking about it, either now or in the future of, leaving ship. I won't call out anybody who works at firms. Ryan, if you are watching this, I'm staying put for now. Sam, don't help me. So without further introduction, Mary Beth has done it all, I feel like, in the recruiting, hiring industry, and so she's here to talk to us. So welcome.
Thank you, Catherine, and thank you guys for having me here. It's a pleasure to meet you and to learn more about the Young Lawyers section. So thank you for the introduction. I, believe it or not, I'm in my 39th year in the legal industry. I've been doing it all of my life in the capacities of legal assistant, paralegal, office manager, legal administrator, marketing director, executive director, all the way up to COO of Fortune 500 law firms, all in boutique law firms. My career started in Houston. So I worked in Houston, Miami, and LA for various law firms. So there's a lot that I know about law firms. In addition to recruiting, I also do law firm legal marketing consulting and management consulting. And I help lawyers start their own law firms. So my maiden name was Monzingo. And that's the reason my company is Monzingo Legal, if you're wondering. So we've been through an interesting time. I want to go through several topics. One, I'd just like to, right off the bat, talk about pandemic-proof practice areas. Hopefully everybody's very happy where they are, but as we saw in the last year, things can change on a dime. So it's good to know what's going on out there. I'll tell you the number one practice area that grew during the pandemic was family law. So I think that relationships became strained, people lost jobs, people were scared, and just, people started homeschooling, and everybody's life as they knew it was turned upside down on a dime. So that area grew and it's continued to expand. Real estate law, big, and estate planning was the other one that was pandemic proof, and still today is growing exponentially. Follow that up with evictions. Evictions law is big, bankruptcy, condominium law, and then lastly, business law, because a lot of businesses had a lot of issues taking a hit. And we won't forget litigation. And of course, the employment law litigation area is starting to boom based on pandemic and things that are going on in the workplace. So monitor the job market. Whether you're wanting to make a move or whatever you want to do with your career, you should always be monitoring. Ways to do this, get your Gmail, whatever, subscribe to the Florida Bar Legal Fuel Job Flash. That's interesting. Of course, I monitor it closely. Before COVID, there were between 70 and 80 jobs at all times on that Legal Fuel Bar Flash. Today, there's 201, and it's been over 200 for months. So this is Florida statewide, but it's interesting to me. So a lot of people are hiring. Why are they hiring? People keep asking me, some people made a pivot during COVID. They decided maybe I don't want to be a lawyer anymore, or hey, I like this remote working situation. I'm going to find a firm that will let me do this 100% of the time. Or people said, I've always wanted to go get my master's. I think I'll take some time off and do that. I've got to stay home and homeschool anyway, or whatever, men and women, So a lot of reasons for the hiring and people making moves and changes. Okay, so additionally, LinkedIn. Of course, I'm going to talk a lot about LinkedIn today in several different ways. But I wonder if you know that recruiters have a subscription to what's called LinkedIn Recruiter Pro. And that's a separate software that we use that's sort of in the back end of LinkedIn, where we can search for candidates. And I'll tell you, most of recruiters in the United States use that tool. So they go, LinkedIn is a real go-to. In LinkedIn, if a person were looking for an opportunity, or maybe you've been laid off or whatever, you can do what's called raise your hand in LinkedIn. And recruiters that have that software will go right to all the people that have raised their hand that they're open to a conversation about their career. So it's important to do. Of course, these days they have all these things since COVID where you can slap a "I'm looking for a job" right onto your profile, you know, if you're laid off and such. But that's one way to signal a recruiter. And also, there's never been a time like today to get your headshots updated and get them on all of your legal directory profiles, including LinkedIn. Because let's face it, online is where it's at, and most of the interviews are being conducted by telephone and then Zoom. And there's not a lot going on in person until the end. So you want to put your best foot forward. I'm going to talk some more about that in a minute. Other job alerts you can subscribe to, the big job boards, Indeed, ZipRecruiter, even LinkedIn, and this just gets delivered to your inbox. So you can just monitor, you know, what's going on in your community and the jobs that are out there. Identify the firms that you'd like to work for and check their careers page. But before you do all that, get clear on your goals and what you want to do for your career, what practice area you want to be in, and really, really start to watch those firms and those areas of law, what's happening with them and the kind of people that are in them. And don't forget that persons who manage law firms and often have a lot of titles: office manager, director of administration, COO, executive director, legal administrator, firm administrator. Those people that are managing law firms in all our counties are very much responsible or tasked with helping their firms find attorneys. So, you know, anytime you meet those people, you know, you want to know that it's not just the hiring partner or another attorney at the firm. It's that manager that's looking for attorneys and passing on resumes. Of course, you want to learn from your peers, you know what it's like in a certain practice area, and you want to tend to your LinkedIn connections. Okay, what are law firms looking for? Now, everything I'm going to share today is not only good for your career, but good for you as a lawyer and in business development and building your profile, building your career in general for your own firm. So you're available for opportunities at your current firm, so that you're available for any clients that view all of your accomplishments online, and you'll start gaining more clients. So all of this applies to both, okay? So what are firms looking for? Number one, excellent writing. So writing. I hear it over and over and over. And by the way, I am a national recruiter. So I work in all the states, and I think I had placements in 13 states last year. So I hear this not just from our area, but statewide, countrywide, all of these things that I'm sharing. Okay, excellent writing. If you feel like you're short, you're not well in writing, ramp it up and, you know, take some courses and really, you know, really look at that. Court hearings, trials, dispositive motions, depositions. They want to see, and they want to see numbers. You know, how many trials have you conducted? First chair, how many have you sat second chair, third chair? How many have you fully prepared for, but for whatever reason you weren't the person to conduct the trial? Anything that you can add. Approximately how many hearings per week do you handle? How many depositions do you take in a month or in a week? Numbers, you know, really state it. You know, I see a lot of resumes. I'm a litigation attorney and I take depositions and I do court hearings. Go ahead and elaborate on that. And by the way, what are you litigation in what? Insurance defense or what practice area? Really elaborate. They're looking for client service abilities. So gone were the days where you can get out of law school and just do your craft and not be pushed out there to do client development. And that could be as simple as you're handling a case, and the way you're handling the the way you're handling the client is so good and so effective and pleasant that they remember you, and their feedback to your firm is, it was great working with Katie. She was right on top of everything. She returned my calls. She amazing, you know. So this will help you in your current and help you gain more business by referrals, of course. So you definitely want to make sure that you have client service abilities. They're looking for people who will work in the office. people are very tired of the remote. So I cannot tell you how many calls I get every week from people saying, hey, I'm looking, but I only want remote. I only want remote, meaning only remote. Don't even want to go in the office one day a week. So, you know, most of the job orders I get, one of their top requirements post-pandemic is I need someone to work in the office. So that, you know, certainly they're taking precautions in the office, but
Is that the same as pre-pandemic?
no, never heard it. In fact, if you said, I want to work remote, you wouldn't even get an interview. I mean, it's amazing. The remote opportunities that have become available in the past year has exploded. And law firms are finally understanding it, getting behind both in paralegal and attorney. And I literally have clients now who give me job orders saying, Colorado, for instance, I don't care where they live, as long as they have a Colorado bar license, we're now 100% remote. This is just unheard of. It's unbelievable. And, you know, it works for the most part, but there are things that don't work, of course, about it. We're a little different here. You know, we want people in the office. It depends on the area, it depends on the area of law, how much client contact you really need to have. But it is amazing. Another one, meeting or exceeding your billable hours. Sounds logical, right? But, you know, it doesn't always happen when somebody, you know, and that this is very big. And not only meeting them, but understanding the what I call art of billing your hours, because it is an art. And it does take practice, and it's something that is learned, and it's something that if you do it well, you're worth your weight in gold. But that is how we all, what we're doing here is we're billing our time as professionals, as lawyers. So learning the art of that and not having partners spending their time changing your time entries and fixing it every month billing, which they hate to do, is awesome. So don't forget that. They hate that. Billing time is the worst time for partners. And then, you know, you don't want them to have to go in there and have to fix all that. Advanced degrees, your LLMs, especially in tax, in estate planning, things like that. This is something that is important and is looked for. And I have a lot of clients that just absolutely require the LLM in tax and estate planning. So another big one is how to work with a paralegal and delegate to a paralegal. They're looking for that. So you want to be able to do that so that you're spending your time lawyering and at the same time you're feeding a paralegal. That's the perfect combination, what every partner is looking for. Technology savvy, big one. I feel like I don't have to say that, but I do have to say that. It's more important than ever now, again, post-pandemic. Technology, cloud computing, and of course, knowing how to work with other lawyers on a team. So I'm going to move into working with recruiters for a minute. Working with recruiters. Okay, so law firms don't generally hire a recruiter to find them someone fresh out of law school or even under a year. They hire us for the 3 to 10 year experience in a specific practice area. Having said that, if your friends are fresh out of law school or you're in your first year, do contact a recruiter, especially someone like me who really cares, but who really contact a recruiter and say, hey, I just got out of law school. My desire is to someday be in family law. I don't have anything now. I did take a family law clinic. I did clerk, I did this or whatever. I'd like to give my resume to you and stay in contact with you for the future. Do that. Encourage your friends to do that. Because what I do is I check back with people year after year to see, you know, where are you and if I can help you in any way. Okay. So you stay in touch and you update your resume once a year. So if you have 2 years later, you have conducted a couple of trials, or you sat second chair, or you've done something else, you've closed a very big real estate deal or whatever that needs to be put on your resume, update it, send it to the recruiter and say, hey, we talked a year or two ago. When did you have my new resume with things that I've been doing lately or whatever? Okay. So check your spam often as well when you're working with jobs. My name on Zingo is weird, and also sometimes it's a sales pitchy type of email, so they go to spam a lot. So check your spam or your other folder, and check your LinkedIn. Now, I'm going to go back to LinkedIn for a minute. The recruiters are going to message you message candidates through LinkedIn. So whatever email you have to LinkedIn is where that message is going to go. So bear that in mind. Okay, so this happens often. So I'm seeing a trend where people are submitting their LinkedIn bios in lieu of a resume. So that is not all bad if your LinkedIn bio is completely completed with all of your resume information. And I don't know if you've ever seen one, but this is what they look like. Okay, so they have this big black strap on them, which is hard on the printer, right? And they look good, and they really look good like a resume. But if your LinkedIn bio doesn't have resume data, you want to type a resume. And also, to me, kind of shows you didn't really care about this job. You just PDF'd your LinkedIn profile, which I could see. Also, remember that recruiters will remove your contact information. It's very hard to do on this. So Word, PDF, a straight typed document, please. All of these templates with photos and all these lines and graphs and drawings are very hard very hard to get through the systems. Does anybody know what parsing means? So whenever if you did submit a resume through LinkedIn or a job board, that software parses your resume out. So it takes out, we actually don't see your real resume. Could you believe that? Not always, unless you know how to program it that way. So we get this weird document that just has your places of employment, and sometimes it leaves things out, and sometimes your name is not right, blah, blah, blah. So even in the applicant tracking systems, somebody mentioned Robert Half's, the big agencies, they all have, and I have too, applicant tracking systems. So that software also parses, but it's not as bad as job boards. So we do see your regular resume through those. If you're really motivated, say you've been laid off and you really need something, don't just apply through the form, the application form. Find out, or say it was with a recruiter, and then or first. Find an email. Go to my website. What's my email? Send me an email with that resume and say, hey, I just applied in your system. I want to make sure you got it. Blah blah blah. Call, text. We want to hear from you. Hiring partners and law firms and office managers and recruiters want to hear from you. So, there's never too much communication, text, phone, call, whatever. Don't be afraid. So I can't tell you how many times I get a resume, both when I was managing law firms for 15 years and as a recruiter. I get somebody to send me their resume and it's titled resume.doc. Well, if you can imagine, I receive 1,000 resumes a month, and sometimes things might get kind of busy or lost, and I'm like, where is that person's resume? And I've got resumes.docs out to the zoo, right? So not only put it your name, put more. Here's an example: Attorney John Gray, Fort Myers litigation attorney. Name your document that 2021. Put the date even. So that is in the system, okay? And that's for law firms too. Of course, the ideal length is 2 pages. I'm seeing a trend of everybody wanting to cram everything onto 1 page. It's entirely frustrating for hiring managers because they really want to see the breadth of your experience. They don't want to see your design skills on cramming things onto 1 page. And please remember that your resume is a writing sample. So it needs to be perfect. I received one the other day on one of these where the guy put his email up here, but it didn't fit. It was so-and-so@gmail.com, right? And he left off the .com. So we're having an interview and I'm like, did you know there's a typo on your resume/LinkedIn bio? And it doesn't say .com after your email. It goes, oh, I just left it off because it didn't fit. Okay, I said, well, that would be construed as lack of detail and not going to work. So you'll be surprised what we see. Put a compelling headline right at the front of your resume: experienced family law attorney, right at the top, okay? Please remember that anything you're doing needs to be keyword rich. These resumes are being read by computers, by some firms, by me. I read them all personally, but computers do read them as well. They go into databases that are searchable. So, and also your LinkedIn profile, make sure it is all keyword rich. So you want to really be specific. If you're a litigation attorney and you've done construction litigation, real estate litigation, probate litigation, employment litigation, list all those things, because maybe they're just looking for an employment litigation attorney, right? Okay, be upfront on your salary expectations. Anyone's welcome to call me on research on this, but be upfront with your recruiter, be upfront, figure out what it is, and just lay it out there and talk about it. And once you get the interview, don't go with another number at the interview that you have already discussed with the recruiter. You'll lose all credibility, and so will the recruiter. So, just be real upfront and real clear, and also ask for what you want. General rule, 20% more than you are now. So just be honest about that. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about online presence for a minute. Never been a better time, as I said, to get your headshot updated online. Please do not leave your online presence to your law firm, your marketing company, your marketing director, or whomever. Please take responsibility for reviewing your profiles, and this is good for business development as a lawyer. You want to look consistent. You want to be found online, so you need as many entries as possible to rank in SEO. You want to look professional, and you want to be consistent, of course. And you want to put your best foot forward for potential clients. So AVO, A-V-V-O, some people call it AVO, I don't know. It is merging with Martindale, but it's still out there. All your profiles are on AVO, so claim them. You have to claim them and then put your photo and fill out your information. So they're sitting there unclaimed without a lot of information. And if you Google yourself, and you should often, you will find AVO will be on the first page for you, along with LinkedIn. That's why LinkedIn is also important. Yes, sir.
Just on Avo, if you claim it and then add details about your profile, they've got a ranking system, and
Yes.
adding details and
Yes.
working your profile, just putting your info on there can increase your rankings.
Yes. And the average purchaser of legal services finds that very valuable, by the way, in our legal marketing studies. We might think, what's AVO, whatever, that should be on Martindale. They find that very important. It's on the first page. So fill it out, find a client to put you a review on there, even better. Find 5 clients, and you will get points. You're a 4.0, 5.0, or 4-star. This is important. But for me, it's important just, that you had the smarts to go claim your profile and fix it and make everything, that you had the wherewithal to do it. And for the purchasing, for someone looking for you and your services, they will find you. You'll get calls from AVO, okay? So do that yesterday. Again, make sure your LinkedIn profile's updated, but more importantly, don't leave it up to your law firm. Look at your bio on your law firm's website often. Make sure it's updated. If you have joined a board, or you have joined a committee, or you have taken on a leadership role in the bar association, make sure it's on your profile, your bio on your law firm website, as well as all these other places. Don't leave it to a very busy office manager who will get to it in 60 days. Okay, there's a lot that are on their plate. I know, because I've sat there. So check it. I can't tell you how, when I was running law firms, I did, once a year bio update, as well as monthly with all of my lawyers. So because you're busy and you don't think about it, but do think about it. It will benefit you in the future. On your LinkedIn, again, build out the skills section. You ever seen the skills section at the bottom? Add what you do. This is for clients to find you and others to find you. Add family law, add trials, add whatever. And notice, and back to that LinkedIn Recruiter Pro software, we have 58 search tools, 58 places to search on the bios. And one of the main one is skills, and one of them is title. You might say family law attorney instead of associate attorney, in your title. That helps with gaining clients as well. Say what you do. We can search schools. We can search firms. We search 58 points of your LinkedIn bio are searchable. So make sure you have all-star status in filling that out. If you need help, call me. I'll help you. I'm a pro at that. Get some recommendations on LinkedIn and elsewhere if you can. Recommendations. Very important. If you stay active on LinkedIn, if your firm shares blogs and important news, share it out. And when your colleagues and other people share their wins, their successes, their blogs, their news, put a like on it, put a comment on it. What I'm getting at here is I want you to be visible, both for getting new clients and for should something go south in your career and you're looking to network for a new position. You want to have already been visible. When that day dawns, when COVID hit, that was the day to start. You know, the people that were already visible and already remote and already doing these things did well. Okay. Don't use LinkedIn like Facebook though, but make very professional comments. And you know, tend to your social media, make sure it's private and don't do anything crazy there. It will be checked. And like I said earlier, Google yourself often. Big, please write articles, write blogs. The other thing law firms are looking for, back to that topic, you know, if you turned in a blog every quarter to your office manager, they would be so grateful, you know. And that blog should be, you know, loaded with plenty of keywords of what you do and have your picture on there and about the author. And then that will be on the internet and you will get clients. The number one way to get clients in the current environment is blogging. It's not by purchasing Google ads. It's not, you know, referrals are always there, but just to be online to get clients is the blogging. So please write articles for not only your law firm, but for publications, Health and Wellness Magazine, your bar association publications, any you know, Gulf Shore Life, whatever. They're dying for articles from you about a variety of topics. I'm sure you all know this, but when you attend a Zoom meeting, please be in business attire and don't look at your phone or look away. Act like you're sitting here like we are now. And this is getting more and more important. You never know who's in that meeting. Same like in your deposition, you never, you know, whatever, who's ever there. Treat everything as an interview. Everything you do should be treated as an interview and as a potential referral source to refer you business. So extremely professional. Practice, figure out what your background is, figure out what a client place is. Don't take a Zoom very, or any video call very seriously. I'm having a lot of law firms talk to me about that. So networking, you're the type of person who wants to run the other way when you hear the word networking. Maybe you don't understand it very well. It's very important. And really what it is having an interesting conversation. That's all it is, a memorable conversation. Being kind and listening to people and being, you know, having an interesting, this happens with the grocery store cashier, with the man who delivers your mail, with the teacher, with the team mom. Have interesting conversations. You're constantly networking, okay? And that's all it is. Join a board, join a committee, add it to your bio. I can't stress it enough.
Be active in bar association.
All of you are doing great with that. And
Yeah.
And very big, you know, nonprofits. You know, pick a nonprofit and volunteer and get it on your bio. It's very, very important. And frankly, a lot of my law firm clients require it of their associate attorneys, and they allow them the time for it. Firms want to put themselves out there that give back to the community. And when people are talking about a certain law firm giving back to the community, you want your name to be mentioned somehow. When a firm buys a table at Golisano's Children's Museum, raise your hand first. Say, I'll go. You know, I will bring my spouse and go. Be that person in your firms. And
Or when sponsoring your Bar Association's gala.
there you go.
It's October 2nd.
There you go. October 2nd, your local bar association gala. Volunteer, be there, go.
We mentioned the bar association.
And the young lawyers.
And the young lawyers. And hey, don't forget the Florida bar.
Yeah.
You know, get on some committees there. It's very impressive to law firms. It's impressive to consumers. You know, you would be surprised. They want to see your legal but they want to see, wow, this person is well regarded and really cares about people and they're everywhere. They want to see that. That's all part of the business development. And network with your industries that can refer you business, accounting, insurance, wealth planners. Name some. What's in real estate? Who would you network with for business? Community association managers. Perfect. Big business right now with all this going on in real estate. Okay, land use and zoning, big business right now. That is growing. So who you would get out of your legal comfort zone and network with those people. One piece of advice that was given to me years and years ago in my legal career history, I had a person who I thought was just fantastic at business development. She was leading a huge accounting firm with hundreds of professionals in accounting. And I asked her, how do you do it? How do you keep adding business to your firm like this, as a non-accountant business developer? She said, well, every morning when I wake up and I'm on my bike exercising, which I know we all do, right? At 4:30 in the morning. When I'm on my bike or my Peloton, I just think through my head, who can I help today? Who? Just think of a person and help one person every day with something that has no benefit to you. You reach out to somebody, call someone and say, hey, the women's group, what is the professional women's group here? I forget, the women's something club.
We have recall.
Yeah. Hey, you want to go to the meeting with me next week and meet some people? Do some, would you like to attend? Do something, okay? So volunteer. Okay. If you did get in an interview situation, what to look for at that law firm and what to ask. People ask me a lot of times, what questions should I ask? So paralegals a lot too, with lawyers, they've usually answered all my questions once I've done all these interviews. Well, the reason they're asking for interviews is they want to have a conversation with you, and they want to know if they've left anything out, and they want to know if you've understood what they've said about the position and about their firm, and they want to make sure nothing is left undone. But they also would like to know how you think, the kind of questions that you ask as a lawyer, right? But having said that, there's also some practical things that you should be looking for. I'm going to follow my notes so I don't forget anything. So obviously, you want to know what partner you would directly be working for, and what other practice areas that you might be able to work for. Say that you didn't want to be niched into one area. Would there be an opportunity for you to work in other areas? This is a good question. You want to know what kind of mentorship is available at that firm, if, how they handle anyone that's newer at the practice area coming in, how that is handled. And you want to know about the review process. Seems funny to ask that right up front in an interview, but please ask that. And what does an attorney need to do to make junior partner, non-equity partner, or partner here? What is the path to that? How often will my salary be reviewed? What is your bonus structure? Exactly, have them lay it out for you. What are those billable hour requirements? Of course, that sounds, logical, but some people forget to ask that. What are they? What is expected of me every single month? Okay, any opportunities for growth? Do they pay your CLE? Ask. Believe it or not, there's little firms that don't. They want to pay for your education. How is the firm managed? Is a really good question. If you hear, well, we don't really have a manager, and we might meet, we don't really have a formal, red tape managing partner meeting or anything, but everything's just, because everything just runs well here. Well, just run at that point, you want to know how the firm is managed, and because decisions are going to be being made that affect you all the time when you're a lawyer, and you want to know. Just, you don't have to get really involved. They don't have to tell you every detail, but you kind of want to know. They want to know. Oh, well, we have a managing partner. We have monthly partners meetings, and with our office manager, and this is how we do it. What software do they use? You don't want to walk into a situation where you're looking at archaic firm that doesn't have the proper software to support you in your business. Or on the flip side, something so technical that you just don't have anything about, you don't even want to learn it, right? So you want to know that. How am I doing on my time, Catherine? Okay. All right, so you want to know what is the marketing support? And you really want to ask about this. Do they have a person dedicated to marketing? Do they have a company they're working for? How does it work? You'd like to know that there's somebody working on the marketing function in general at that firm that's creating opportunities for you. Speaking engagements. You want to get out there. You want to get out of your comfort zone and get some speaking engagements. I mean, this is not really fun for me, but I push myself to do this because you want to put yourself out there if you want to grow your business and succeed in your law firms. You want a marketing director who's helping create those opportunities for you. You're too busy to do that. You're billing your time, right? So you want them to come to you saying, hey, I got an opportunity. You want to team up with this wealth planner. We're going to do a seminar on estate planning. They need an attorney. You want to do it. And your answer is yes. And just figure it out later. Okay. So ask some things about, what's the admin support? What's the paralegal ratio? You want to know what support you're going to have. And of course, you also want to know what their turnover rate is. And they won't have that number on their top of their head. They'll say, well, how many attorneys have left here in the last 2 years? So ask the question, okay? Request to speak to another associate attorney before you do anything. So and they won't, maybe a law firm may not think of this. So you'll need to ask them, is there an associate attorney in the group that I can speak with about a day in the life? Just ask them, what's a day in the life here? Think little things. What are the office hours? What type of training is available? Overall, the firm's expectation. What about pro bono? Does the firm help you find opportunities for pro bono work? Do they pay you for your pro bono work? Do they allow for the time in your billable hours for you to have to do the pro bono work? Be sure to ask that question. Okay. Okay. Questions? Does anyone have questions or comments?
How important do you think it is for attorneys to make sure that they're more?
1000%. Along with, and I apologize, didn't mention that when I was going through the profiles. Your Florida bar, your local bar, your fine law, your super lawyers, your best lawyers, but most importantly, your Martindale, they're probably, and I think I have an article somewhere of the most important attorney directories that you should be on. And anybody wants that, I can send it to you. So not only, are you on there updated, does everything match? I will go into a firm to be their marketing consultant. And the first thing I'll do is canvas all of that online. And I'll find headshots from 20 years ago on one site, practice areas wrong on another site, no headshot at all on another site, and nothing that matches the law firm bio. So I can't stress enough how important this is, because when someone's looking for your services or looking for you, they might just stop when they just see a lot of chaos like that. But yeah, the Florida bar site, very, very important. I'm amazed how many people don't even have their photos on it. Yes.
How do you handle the question, what is your salary expectation?
You answer it directly. So you decide what that is when they come in before you go. And you could give a range within $10,000. Not, some people say I'll do 100 to 150. Well, what does that really mean? If you're working with a recruiter, it's a little bit easier because we can really share inside information about what this firm can and will pay. So we can kind of figure that out in the beginning. But if not, I'm 110 to 120. Of course, 120 would be ideal, but I don't want to miss this opportunity. So I am a little bit flexible depending on benefits, bonuses, and retirement plan. Okay, tell them that I'll continuously say, I'd like to see the entire package. But to say nothing is kind of awkward. So a lot of people say, well, I'm not sure. I'd like to learn about all of your benefits packages first or whatever. So you want to give yourself that range and say dependent upon all of these other PTO, retirement, profit sharing. What am I going to have to pay for health insurance? What are any perks? Do you pay myself up? You want to know all of those things and make it clear that you really can't give them an exact number until you know all of those things. But do give them a good range. Yes, Michael. And Martin.
What is PTO?
Paid time off. You don't have that?
Yeah.
I have some firms who have unlimited PTO. They're getting really innovative. Get your billables, be here when you're supposed to be here, and take your time off as you need. How about that? Mhm.
When I log into LinkedIn, somehow I keep getting viral posts, and it seems to be increasingly like people, young attorneys often who are complaining about the billable hour model. And I'm curious, that's kind of just one example of like, my bigger question is, are you seeing employers cater to what seems to be
That don't want to do the billable hour.
I
that
guess,
what you're
yeah,
saying?
I don't know what they propose as an alternative. I've always wondered that, but yeah.
I am seeing that more at the larger firm level, I guess. The billable hour is never going to go away. As much as we've tried. Of course, if you want to be in a flat fee billing firm, it's going to be real estate, estate planning, and some other areas. But I am seeing that. But how else are the clients going to be billed properly? I mean, there has to be some type of tracking, and that goes back to the software too. Ask about software. You want to know that you're going to have a good database time and billing software that's going to help you manage your day, if this is what's required of you, right? So I am seeing a little bit of that, but not a lot. I'm seeing the billable hours annually requirement go down as newer attorneys are requiring this work-life balance. And I think COVID knocked off did a lot of that as well, where people's priorities are changing and needing to be home with their family. So there has to be a certain amount of billing, of course, to profit. So that's 3 to 4 times your salary package. So you keep that in mind. And while we're on the subject of billing, if you're in a plaintiff's firm or in a firm where you're not keeping time and you want to go to a firm where you need to bill your time by the hour, you need to somehow show that law firm in the interview that you can do that. So a lot of people have trouble crossing over to that. So here's how one candidate handled it. That they were in a plaintiff's firm, but they had an Excel. They told the firm, I have an Excel spreadsheet where I do log my time every day because I want to know, am I effective on the cases that I settle? And I'll take the number I settled by and look at the amount of hours I put into it to see if it was how profitable it really was. And I take that to my review every year, right? So if you were interviewing for a firm that has billable hours and you've done something like that, that proves that you can and will do that, right? So just as a side note for anyone else that's listening. More questions? Yes, ma'am.
Board certification. How does that help my dollar number and getting hired somewhere else?
That helps you, number one, get more clients. And it does help you get hired. It is important. It is very important. Make sure any firm you go to is going to pay for it, support it, and promote it and market it. Okay. Make sure you're promoting and marketing it. I know it's hard. You've got to have trials. You've got to have 5 years. You've got to have all kinds of things. The test is, I've heard, not depending on the area of law, it's not that easy. But please work towards your board certifications. It is number one, as bigger than an LLM sometimes. I mean, you're displaying that you're an absolute expert in your field. So good question. There's other certifications out there, like the Certified Financial Litigator for family law attorneys. It's growing. There's Certified Divorce Analyst. There may be other certifications that I don't know about. Is there any real estate that I don't know? I don't know if there are any in your field, Shay, that are important. But you can do other things to add to your resume. And when I say resume, I'm saying bio. You need to be a bio builder. You need to look at things. that you can do to build your bio for business and for employers. Okay, any question? Mhm.
How do you feel about those lawyer awards? Not like super lawyers, but like the elite lawyers and all of those things that once you pay $300 to join this organization, are they really helpful?
There are some that are helpful. There are some that are questionable, and there are some that are outright frauds. Okay, if you ever want to ask me about that, anyone's welcome to call me. Super lawyers, best lawyers in Florida Trend are reputable, and they do have, Florida Trend is the legal elite you're referring to. And they do have a very viable and credible vetting process. I have checked into this over the years for many firms. So it is expensive. So you can be a super lawyer and not buy their $300 profile online. You won't really be visible on the site, but you'll have it on your bio. So if you get it, take it, and you don't have to spend a dime. But it can be very expensive if you do start, you have to buy upgraded profiles, same with best lawyers, you know, it's very expensive, buy the badge and all this stuff. You can just get it, put in your bio. But if you do get a super lawyer, rising star, best lawyer, ones to watch, yeah, that's good. Florida Trend. Lawyers of distinction, complete fraud. Did y'all see the ABA article on that where a cat won it? A law firm submitted a cat.
You sure it wasn't the attorney?
They submitted a cat and paid the $400, and they literally listed it. They didn't even know it was a cat. Sent them a plaque too. Yeah, I mean, anything you have to pay for to get the award, run. But if you just get designated or recognized, they call it, and you have not paid anything for it, it's normally credible. But there's really not many others. You know, AV rated on Martindale-Hubbell. This is what you should be working toward. Does anybody know how to do that? Is that a mystery to anybody? How to get AV rated on Martindale-Hubbell? So it's not hard, you know. Okay, so Martindale-Hubbell is very important. They're also merging with Avo. They're SEOs out of this world. Back in the day, I'm going back 30 years, that was the game. You had to be in Martindale, but you weren't a viable lawyer. It's kind of changed a little bit, but still very important. So in order to get AV rated, your firm has to be subscribed to Martindale-Hubbell. So there is a cost there. Find out if they are. And if they are, you can get your own login as you as an attorney. Check your profile, make sure it's correct. And there's a system to get rated. And what you will do is submit a minimum of 25 names of colleagues who are lawyers that are in Martindale. It can be anyone in the United States, doesn't have to be locally, but they do have to be in Martindale. And as many as you can submit who are already rated, the better. So you send those 25 names with their contact details to Martindale. There's a tool in the system to do it. And this is something that I do for law firms for them. So then you email all the people that you submitted and you say, hey, heads up, you're going to get an email from Martindale-Hubbell. It's not going to be spam. It's going to be on my behalf. If you would consider rating me, I would appreciate it. Also, please check your spam. Tell that person in your email. I have a form email if anybody wants it. Check your spam, because a lot of times when they get that rating email, it goes to spam. I don't know why. So check your spam. In the next 2 weeks, you will receive an email from Martindale. All it takes is for a certain percentage of those to rate you, and for that percentage to include people that are already rated as AV, or they used to have BB, but they still have that, or something like that. Peer review rated, I think they call it now. One of those, and that will work towards your rating. If you don't get it on the first time around, send it again, and put it on your calendar to resubmit in a year. So just literally calendar yourself to submit a new list, or even the same list, and just put it in your Martindale tool again. And within 1 to 3 years, you'll be AV rated if you have a good list of colleagues, which brings us back to the importance of networking with your colleagues, right? So you want to know other professionals and be involved in your bar associations, and you know, you want to be memorable. You know, you want to know those people, and you want to be on professional boards with them, and you want to respond to emails that you get to rate other people. right? And you want to nominate people. If you're into best lawyers and super lawyers, the best way to get yourself in there is to nominate other lawyers. So just create your login on super lawyers or best lawyers and start nominating. Super lawyers is open right now till the end of September, and best lawyers is about to open. So it's open for nominations now. You can nominate up to 7 lawyers within your own law firm. So it's always a nice thing to do. Okay, another question? Are we good? Okay, did I fill the time, or I could talk forever? I can name a subject, I can talk about it. Okay, all right, well, it's such a pleasure being here. Anybody welcome. I'm always available. You have friends that are wanting to go to law school, you have paralegals looking for opportunities, people that just want advice. I'm at a point in my career, 39 years later, where I truly love helping people, helping them with their resumes, helping them. Oh, I did forget an important part, packaging yourself on your resumes. Don't just send a resume, send a cover letter, send a writing sample, and if you're a newer attorney, send a transcript. All of those things will be requested, and it will save a lot of trouble if you just submit those to the recruiter. And the writing sample being very key. It needs to be a motion for summary judgment, a dispositive motion, something key, redacted, of course, okay? Something that's not confidential. So yeah, and so anybody who needs help with that, I have lots of positions open right now. If you know people that are looking for a new opportunity, I know even though there's a lot of jobs out there that people are getting laid off too, I'm here for them. I have commercial real estate, family law, litigation, paralegals and attorneys, and estate planning, trust and estates all day long. I am looking for that in Florida, okay? So if I can help anybody, call me. I'm happy to. Or if there's anything that you think of later that you didn't ask now, just give me an email or text. I'm available. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much. That's so nice. Wow.